Good morning guys and welcome to iPunt Smart. We are racing from Kenilworth today and the weather's closed off nicely. Had a lot of rain recently in the 7 days, 39 millimeters, but in the last 24 hours it's been perfectly beautiful. But I would assume it is pretty soft at Kenilworth because there has been a ton of rain in Kenilworth. So we start off in the first with a greenie Adira. I think it's a bit more tricky than that because I do like Adira, Arctic Ice and Kissing Point. As you can see, my bipod 1, 2 and 10. I think the most scope for improvement is probably Kissing Point, since it's got the best back curve and it's only had the one run. So I think Adira is probably a better place prospect, and currently at 82%, 10 to 11, which is absolutely wonderful price for Adira to win. But I would probably want to include Kissing Point and maybe Arctic Ice as well to cover for my win. But definitely Kissing Point because Arctic Ice has to come from a 9 draw, and that does not seem too easy. Yeah, the first time a little miss sunshine, little miss sunshine can be anything. But yeah, it doesn't look like Justin Smith has too many today with a lot of chance, except for maybe the BB T'Challa later. But yeah, so we start off with Adira, Kissing Point, Arctic Ice. I think those are your three that will compete here. In the second year, I think Freedom Park, the greenie, also has a danger in the form of Grant Escape. Again, a Brett Crawford and Callan Murray, and again the best back curve figure. Because there's only 2 lengths in the bat 42 between these two, so very little to separate them. So at the very least go 3 and 5. And the other choice that I have here is the 2 Legitimize and the 1 Ben Sujay has a little bit of potential, but at that kind of price, not really for me. So I'm going to stick to 325, Freedom Park, Drawn Escape, and Legitimize. In the third, yeah, a bit of value for me on Arundel. I like the way this is leaning out to be. And again, we've got Callan Murray. So Callan Murray looks pretty decent in the first on Kissing Point. Again on the second on Grant Escape. Both of those for Grant Crawford. And then we move over to Eric Sands' best. Also Callan Murray with Arundel. So a bit of value. Would have been a greenie if the total points was at 1 point more. See 55 and 54 because it does get to the 15 greenie points. Arundel, my first choice. I think Mike Stewart's been going very well of late, so he's my second choice on Petra. And Vision on Ice is my third choice now with the blinkers fitted for Jeff Woodruff. So I haven't included any of the favorites, which is Katie Toe and Queen Mercury, which I don't like doing, so I've added the 2 favorites at the back, 2, 9, 8, 7 and 1. Moving on to the fourth race. Maybe in the pick 6 in the bigger perm, Bite My Lip has a bit of a chance for improvement. It is an only runner for Crawford with Carty on board, and the bat figures aren't too bad. In the fourth year, we have another Brett Crawford and Callan Murray, Universe Boss, and I think this is another one that looks pretty decent here. So I'm going to start off with him as my first choice. But I see Andre Nell starting his day here on Tales of Us, and he's also got a top rated in the next. So I'll make him my second choice, and the Crawford stablemate Tara IT as my third choice. 1, 6 and 3 with the fourth choice, the 5 Assertive Power. Yeah, he needs to improve a lot on the bat figures, but he is a snake and a furry. So I'll make those 4 my first 4. You can see though that Exceeder has some hidden for me on the 12 bat figure. But the top 2, Universe Boss and Tales of Us, is really where I'm concentrating on, with Tara IT being anything as a red bat. It is 6 lengths better than its stable companion, but it does not have the 1800 form. That's why we can see it is in red, because those figures were in 1400, and that is outside our distance category of 251 meters for any race under oh no, this is actually yeah, 251 for any race under 2000 meters and 151 for the under 1600. So this is in the 1600 to 2000 space, which is 250. and therefore Tara IT is outside because it was a 1400 where that has been achieved, and therefore that is in red. So yeah, Universe Boss, Tara IT, and Tales of Us is my main player. I don't think there's too much more to it. It is a maiden plate, so hoping that that will be good enough. 163, maybe the 5 assertive power for some improvement from the snake stable. Moving on to the 5th, and here's the other Andre Nel horse, Red Lark, that comes off the Tales of Us. And Red Lark's bats is pretty impressive here. So I do like the chances of Red Lark as a little bit of a roughie, but then in saying that, Justin Snaith has 4 of the 7 runners here, and the top of those 4 is Knights Templar, and that is also the one where Justin Snaith will get his best return, and it's also the one with the best bomb rolls, and it's also the one with the best bat curve, so that is a consistency indicator. Over 20 runs that Knights Templar has run, he has the best consistency indicator, by 2 lengths better than Red Lark and by 8 lengths better than Rocking Ringo. So I would assume that this might be just the race for Justin Snaith to double up with our best bet T'Challa in the next. So I would definitely think Knights Templar is one to add. So I've gone 4, 2, 1 and 6 in my bipod PA, and in the bigger pick 6 I have added Swift Surprise and August Leaves, in case I am wrong that one of the other Justin Snaith runners will win this race. Maybe Swift Surprise coming from a long rest. It is an older horse, as you can see that means it is older than the field average, and yeah, it is a race where Justin Snaith can really decide, and he does have the trainers at hand to get the result that he wants, let's put it that. Race 6. Here is the, what I would think, best bet of the day, T'Challa, and the biggest dangers would be Ticket to Ride and Bernie for me, those 2. Maybe a bit of an outsider spiritual win for Vaughan Marshall. We'll see how Vaughan Marshall's gone by now, but for now, 8, 11, 2, T'Challa, Ticket to Ride and Bernie. If there's anything else, the Telegram group, I will update the guys there, but at the moment 8, 11, 2 and maybe 5 in the bigger perm, and I think that's enough for the bipod pick 6 and PA purposes. Then the 7th, which is probably your biggest race or toughest race to get through on the day. I would imagine it is a conditions plate. There is a lot of blanks here, which means a lot of uncertainty. For the 42 days we have hardly anything. For the 84 days we have hardly anything. So a lot of horses coming back from a very long rest of 24 weeks on the BAT 168 form. So I'm going to say Marmalisa is my first choice here. Highest green points by quite a bit. But I do note that the adjusted time and the speed rating is both going to Ballroom Bliss here. So I would think that Ballroom Bliss, the Candice Bass Robinson stablemate, is another one to include, the number 9. And then Sovereign Secret, Justin Snaith, and again Mr. Carty. He does have the best green bat in the whole field on the 10 on bat 84 and on the 7 on bat 168, the green ones, in other words the ones that he's proven in the distance category. So another one to consider. Our price jewel, Brett Crawford here with Craig Zaki. It does seem that Brett Crawford prefers Callan Murray today on the right, so that means Sing Out Loud is another one that you have to include. So really tough one to get through. 6, 5, 3, 4, 2, 8 and 9, all of them. And even then I'm not 100% confident in this race, so if you can, just take the whole field and get it over with, because this could be a Marmalisa win or a Ballroom Bliss win for Candice Robinson, or it can be a Crawford Sing Out Loud price jewel, or it can be a Snaith, Sovereign Seeker, Seeping Single. They all got the same input, the same effect in this race. Even Driving Nostalgia, since Eric Sands has a really good other runner, so has to include that one as well. Just take the field and get it over with in this race. It's a tough race to get through. And then moving to the very last here, a bit of a roughie at 10 to 1 Jamila. And I'm not 100% convinced about him, to be quite honest with you. But I just think at that price is a really decent runner. But I also think that Dollar Brand, Jeff Woodruff, and Aussie Noach, they have a really decent hand here. And then Double Charge, Andre Nel and Keegan Amilo, another one where Andre Nel and Keegan Amilo teams all up, and he has had first and second rated previously. So I would be very much looking at how he's been going for the day so far. So 5, 8, 10, my next best Master of Power, Candace and Craig Bantam. Interesting to note that 25 to 1 with the best back 42, the best median speed, and the best back curve. So definitely one to include for a nice pick 6 payout. Master of Power, and then Elusive Tango, my next best. And I would even maybe consider also putting in things like Greenlight Flash, Attorney General, and Rostropovich. So we finish with quite a difficult race in the end. But that's it from me, guys. I hope you will have a great day. And yeah, I would think my best options would be the place on the first. Yeah, I'll just give you the horses I've got a little bit of interest in. Adira to place, Freedom Park, Arundel, Vision on Ice, Petra, Redlark, Knights Templar, T'Challa, Ticket to Ride, and maybe we'll see how the 7th and 8th pans out by now to see if there is any interest in the 7th and the 8th race. Have a good day.